Philadelphia is home to the Liberty Bell and the iconic Rocky statue. It is also where the popular holiday drink, Pennsylvania Dutch eggnog, is made. But despite the drink's reputation, the company that creates it has been something of a mystery. Meg Oliver is here to uncover it. The story. Morning, Meg.
Good morning, Dana. That's right. Charles Jacquin's is the little-known Philadelphia factory that has been churning out the classic boozy holiday drink for decades. The place where Pennsylvania Dutch was born and is still brewed today.
In the heart of the gritty streets of Philadelphia sits an unassuming building that has remained virtually unchanged for more than 80 years. Inside Charles Jacquin's distillery, the recipe for their old-school Pennsylvania Dutch eggnog hasn't changed either.
It's our biggest item, and it's the #1 or #2 eggnog in America.
The origins of eggnog dates back to medieval British times. When the drink made its way to the colonies, it became the eggnog we know today.
The quintessential holiday drink, and I don't drink eggnog every day, but definitely during the holidays, my family and I will drink a bottle.
Jacquin's eggnog journey began 4 decades ago with an employee's work trip to Ireland to learn how to make Irish cream, the company's desire to branch out from cordials, and an untapped market. In 1981, Jacquin's introduced alcoholic eggnog commercially to the nation. CEO John Cooper says the secret to their success is simple.
What makes it different?
Besides the alcohol, it's just the basic ingredients. It's the cream that's locally sourced. It's the eggs. We don't use egg powder. It's our proprietary blend of brandy, of bourbon, and of rum, and that's it. And sugar, of course.
Same recipe since 1981.
Yep.
Never changed it.
Haven't changed it.
During peak season, Jacquin's produces more than 200,000 cases of eggnog and ships to all 50 states and military bases. Founded in 1884, Jacquin's is America's oldest cordial producer and serves up more than 140 products, from Union Forge vodka to blackberry brandy. The business started in New York City, but on the heels of Prohibition, the Cooper family bought it in 1933 and moved it to Philadelphia, where it remains the cornerstone of the community.
What does this company mean to you?
Well, it's my legacy, but not just my legacy for my family, but really for the families that have worked here.
A family business made up of families from the neighborhood, like Amy Klipner.
How many family members have worked here?
My dad, my nephew, my aunts, my cousins.
Everybody.
Everybody. I feel at home here.
I've been here 25 years.
It's also home for Jim Logan. He worked his way up from stacking cases to plant manager.
So even before working here, as a kid growing up around the corner, as a kid that went to school right down the street close to these buildings, like for me, and I think I could speak for others that are in the neighborhood, like the buildings mean a little bit more than just a booze plant.
Jacquin's may be just like its top-selling eggnog, simple yet spirited.
Cheers. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. They are very proud of their eggnog.
Yes.
And they should be. When I think of eggnog, I think of big family gatherings around the holidays, all the Oliver Christmas parties. Taste.
Cheers.
What do you
Cheers.
think? Cheers.
Cheers. And I have to say cheers to you. I'm on point this week because, we share a birthday a day apart. Here's to our birthday.
Cheers.
I enjoyed one of these
It's got a kick, doesn't it?
at the National World War II Museum this week. My ever-present eggnog-loving self. So thank you for bringing me
Cheers.
a
Happy
second
holidays.
dose.
What a great family business story.
Family business,
And the whole
neighborhood.
area, yeah.
Yeah, it's really special.
Cheers. Today on The Dish, we set our sights not on a chef or restaurant, but on the baguette. In 2022, UNESCO, the organization known for protecting sites around the world for their heritage and value to humanity, gave the baguette intangible cultural heritage status. In other words, the long, distinctive loaves are a unique part of French and human culture, the baguette sharing gastronomic company with the likes of Arabic coffee, kimchi, and Belgian beer. So how did the crusty bread earn such reverence? No better place to find out than right here in Paris.
The City of Light is more than generous with her awe-inspiring landmarks, the Eiffel Tower, the Arc de Triomphe, the Louvre. But it's here at the Sunday market and at boulangeries around the city that you'll find one of the quintessential symbols of French culture, la baguette.
The baguette for French people, it's like a Proust Madeleine.
Merci.
Like a joyful memory. You have a baguette when you are a kid, you put some chocolate in it, you have like a breakfast with your family on weekends, you can go on holiday with a sandwich, like it's very like a companion during your life. Pâtisserie qui manque, je te coupe le flan.
Ouais, merci beaucoup.
Amelia Bell and her husband Antonin opened Boulangerie Mimi in the 11th arrondissement 2 years ago, both leaving the financial world for a taste of this. Hands-on, early morning work, along with their staff, creating beautiful and mouth-watering pastries and tantalizing breads.
Bread is like the soul of French people.
I love that. How would you say that in French?
C'est l'âme d'un Français.
L'âme d'un Français?
Yeah.
To help me understand the soul of the French,
And just shape it like that.
You say it so easily.
as you can see, Amelia put me to work
Yours are so perfect and mine are gaining shape.
with a crash course in baguette baking.
And after that, you can shape it like a baguette. And this is how it looks like.
I think I may have killed this one.
From the hand rollout
You need a blade and
Okay.
you need to lean a little bit.
to the razored slices that bake in the loave's distinguished look. The baguettes we were making, la baguette de tradition, or the baguette of tradition, which are the only baguettes worth trying, according to French historian and bread expert Stephen Kaplan.
It's a baguette that will make you smile. It charms you. It engages you. It touches you emotionally. And it's the emotional inscription in your frontal cortex that will keep you alive and happy for the rest of your time.
I met up with Kaplan at New York City's Ohrwasser's Bakery before heading to Paris to get a better understanding of the baguette,
Take this baguette
Okay.
and do what I'm doing. Blow on it.
which meant a quick tutorial on bread.
Can you smell the caramelization?
Yeah.
It's like pouring wine into a glass and aerating it, and you're bringing out the aromas from the crust.
And its history.
Bread from the beginning was not a gastronomic object, but a political object. It was so necessary for those in power to guarantee access to good quality bread at a reasonable price in sufficient quantities that it became the measure of the stability of a political system.
In France specifically,
Bread was what people survived on. Bread was what defined their politics. Bread was sociability. Bread was breaking it and sharing it and creating community. Bread just constructed everything about Frenchness.
as for the baguette, it took until the 20th century for it to gain popularity in France. Thanks in large part to a law preventing bakers from working before 4 a.m., the baguette's long, thin form made it one of the only breads that could be made before breakfast.
Social factors, taste factors, price factors invited bakers to shift and to begin to do this baguette. And at first, the baguette was quite interesting.
While it's translated to wand or stick, the baguette's distinction goes well beyond its name or shape.
The baguette was the marker of things French. The baguette, the bottle of wine, maybe a beret, and maybe Edith Piaf singing Je ne regrette rien.
And I'm riding on a bicycle with a little basket. Yeah, I have the whole vision of it.
Exactly.
But over time, Kaplan says the quality of the baguette declined.
Bakers are making it too quickly. They're being paid by the piece oftentimes. They're skipping stages, and they're using more and more additives to compensate, more salt to compensate for the lack of taste.
With the image of the French symbol sullied, a law was passed in 1993 to try to restore the traditional quality, a special designation, la baguette de tradition. To qualify, baguettes must be made from start to finish on the premises of the boulangerie and can only contain 4 ingredients: flour, leavening, water, and salt. As for the finished product,
How do you tell a good bread is without tasting it? Not the
Ratatouille
smell,
chef Colette and Kaplan agree.
sound, the crust, listen. Oh, symphony of crackle. Only great bread sold this way.
While the baguette is defined by its crustiness, Kaplan says there's more.
Is the aroma intense or is it weak?
From aroma and taste to an architectural elegance on the outside.
It has a color that's not white.
And the quality of the crumb on the inside.
The crumb and the crust are coupled. They live the way most couples do, with a certain amount of tension and a certain amount of symbiosis. And that crumb has to be a creamy, off-white, pearly, sometimes yellowish color. It has to have little cavities. We call those alveolage.
Which brings us back to Boulangerie Mimi, with our baguettes fresh out of the oven.
So you want crusty outside, like that you can maybe heard it.
I can hear that right away.
And of course you want holes in it, like
oh my gosh. Totally mine. This is like perfect. So many holes.
Yes, it's a perfect baguette.
Finally, it's time for a taste.
So how is it?
This is incredible. And this is exactly what everybody keeps telling me, that it has to have the crispy outside. It's like a chewy, but not overly chewy inside. And the flavor of it. Thank you.
My pleasure.
With my mouth full. Merci.
Avec plaisir. So now I'm waiting for you tomorrow at 6.
I'll be here if I get to eat after.
Yeah. Deal. It's a deal.
It is also the smell, you guys. Just smell it, the caramelization, the crunch. You guys have some there in New York. I've got some here. I've had more baguettes than I've had in my lifetime, and they are all so good.
It was a really cool piece, and we have a huge spread here. Thank you to Ore Washers in New York for all of this. We've got the bread, we've got the marble. What's the This is marble.
These are tasty treats.
Marble loaves. We got a pistachio, like is this
Pan chocolat?
Oh wow!
Dive into the baguette.
Pistachio.
Just dive into the baguette.
Yeah,
I already did.
I ate my whole one. See, DJ? That's all I got left.
Good stuff.
Holes, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud.
Thank you, Dana.
The next chapter in the race for the Republican presidential nomination. On Friday, South Carolina Senator Tim Scott announced he's backing former President Donald Trump. The endorsement coming 4 days before the New Hampshire primary. The Granite State, which has long held the nation's first primary, has often weighed heavily on who becomes both parties' choice for president. For more on how New Hampshire's impacted the race over the years, we're joined by CBS News senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe in our Washington newsroom. Ed, good morning.
Dana, good morning. You know, while Iowa and its caucuses went first last week, it's New Hampshire with the more traditional primary this coming Tuesday. The state's quite protective of its first-in-the-nation status, so protective, in fact, it's now law. But even the current president has tried to stop the state from going first. Now, it's New Hampshire's turn.
Politics is our state sport.
The Granite State has been holding its primary for more than 100 years.
I think it's important to people here because they're, educated in politics and they feel that goes back to their roots.
New Hampshire voters use every bit of Yankee ingenuity to get to the polls. One well-known dog sled racer offered voters a sledding taxi service.
In New Hampshire, they take such pride in their first-in-the-nation status that it's now state law. They must hold the first primary.
Why change it? Trying to stack the deck so someone else can win because they can't win here so they can win somewhere else is crazy.
The state's been the site of several twists and turns, like 3 days before the 1980 GOP primary. A newspaper debate had been deemed in violation of federal election rules, so then candidate Ronald Reagan offered to pay for it. But the paper invited only Reagan and top challenger George H.W. Bush to go one-on-one. Reagan wanted lesser-known contenders to also appear. The moderator disagreed. Reagan interrupted.
Excuse me, Governor Reagan. Would the sound man please turn Mr. Reagan's mic off for the moment?
And it led to this political mic drop.
I am paying for this microphone.
There won't be any debate drama this year, as the qualifying candidates wouldn't agree to appear together. Most New Hampshire voters are registered undeclared, but they can still participate in the primary.
I think that there is just a strong independent cohort here in New Hampshire.
The undeclared are a huge target for candidates with potential crossover appeal. This year, former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley is especially eager to win them.
You know how to do this. You know Iowa starts it. You know that you correct it.
And she's got a point. New Hampshire Republicans usually get it right. As for Democrats, New Hampshire is the state where Senator Gary Hart hit the target. And where, despite coming in second in 1992, Bill Clinton held on.
I'll never forget who gave me a second chance, and I'll be there for you till the last dog dies.
But this year's Democratic primary won't count. The Democratic National Committee has adopted a new calendar that drops New Hampshire further back in favor of South Carolina's February 3rd primary. But New Hampshire Democrats are following state law and holding their primary anyway. The president won't be on the ballot and hasn't campaigned in the state. Instead, supporters are running a Biden write-in campaign. He's opposed by Minnesota Congressman Dean Phillips, a long shot, expected to lose. But something similar has happened before in New Hampshire. In 1968, another Minnesota lawmaker, Eugene McCarthy, challenged another incumbent president, Lyndon Johnson, who only ran a write-in campaign. Johnson didn't campaign in New Hampshire and barely won. Just days later,
good evening, my fellow Americans.
Johnson dropped out.
I shall not seek, and I will not accept the nomination of my party for another term as your president.
Now, we're not expecting something like that to happen this time, but it was President Biden who said New Hampshire should no longer go first for Democrats, arguing South Carolina and its more diverse, predominantly black Democratic voter base should get a chance to weigh in first, especially because they've been so loyal to Democrats through the years. We'll see if New Hampshire holds that against the president on Tuesday when Democrats and Republicans go to the polls.
And we've talked about this for a long time. Everybody wants to be first, whether it's a primary or a caucus. Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina. How much does it matter?
Well, given how very quickly now former President Trump has managed to get the Republican Party to close ranks behind him just a few days after the Iowa caucuses, and looking at how it's going to be really hard for Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley to hold on potentially after New Hampshire if they can't stay close to the former president. It is a huge influential part of the process, and such a small group of people having such incredible power over how the country picks a president. Both of these states with fewer than 3 million people in Iowa, only about 1 million or so in New Hampshire. They have incredible outsized influence.
Ed O'Keefe, properly de-thawed from Iowa. Thank you very much, Ed. Good to see you.
There may be no better way to Viva Las Vegas than with a Las Vegas wedding. It's a legacy that dates back to the 1930s. That's when Nevada state marriage laws ditched blood tests and a standard waiting period, helping the city host over 5 million weddings to date, building a $2.5 billion a year industry. We hit the Strip to find out why so many lovebirds decide to take the plunge in Sin City.
Hello, Mrs. Broad.
Look at you, Mr. Rachel.
Whether drunken in love,
Whatever happened to what's mine is yours, baby. We're married now. Remember?
lucky in love,
How lucky can one guy be?
or hunka burn in love, Las Vegas weddings have been immortalized in film and television for decades.
Make some noise for Vegas's newlyweds!
But there's nothing like the real thing.
I love that I can see you in the camera.
Just ask Isabel McHouston and Quentin Lynch.
To the family.
Thank you.
It's fun, something casual. We've thought about doing a big wedding, but it just wasn't us.
Magical place.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah.
We've never been either. This is our first time here.
Las Vegas really has thought of everything when it comes to weddings. I mean, you don't even have to get out of your car if you don't want to.
Wise men say.
It's just one of the unique ceremonies offered by the famed Little White Wedding Chapel.
Then by the powers vested in me, the king, I pronounce you to be husband and wife. Sir, you may kiss your lovely bride.
Melody Willis-Williams is president and oversees all the company's venues.
What is it that attracts people here?
So at the world famous Little White Wedding Chapel, these ceremonies are a little bit faster and it's very inexpensive to get married. At Viva Las Vegas Weddings, let's say you want characters from Rocky Horror or a superhero, or you just love sci-fi, so Darth Vader is your jam. You can have that kind of experience. At Vegas Weddings, which is our flagship and original locations, that would be your more elegant but super affordable.
Variety like that, the jackpot for Sin City.
We're the wedding capital of the world, right? Last year we did 72,000 weddings in Las Vegas.
Celebrities have always been among the many choosing Vegas to get hitched, including the likes of Frank Sinatra and Mia Farrow in the early years, and more recently, Britney Spears, Michael Jordan, even J-Lo and Ben Affleck. But you don't need to be among the rich and famous to afford to get married here.
You can get married for $80. It's cheaper than getting your marriage license. Your marriage license is going to cost you $102.
If you have a little more to spend, you could take a quick trip down the strip to Bellagio.
So this is our South Chapel. Here we have your iconic backdrop of the floral moon arch. It is a very romantic feeling. We light up the candles and then the couple comes and arrives here for their ceremony.
So beautiful.
Yes.
Daniela Krakow is the social events manager for weddings at Bellagio, which offers 8 spaces for your ceremony. Here, it's not the walk-up experience often associated with Las Vegas.
So with our weddings, we do ask for 30 days. We book out a year in advance.
The minimum cost from $3,000 to $20,000, depending on the space and number of guests.
This would be something to have a wedding in front of.
Absolutely.
But with the average wedding on the East Coast costing nearly twice as much, Vegas may be your best bet.
Everything can be done here. We partner with all our teams here on property, really just to make it as easy and seamless as possible.
This is incredible.
Yes, it's amazing. And this is why they come and get married here at the Bellagio.
Whether it's elegance,
you're hunka burning love.
You're hunka burning love.
or Elvis, the ease and efficiency of a Vegas wedding is undeniable. And with more than 300,000 visitors expected this Super Bowl weekend, a few of those may score big in taking the plunge.
Quincy, you know what to do. Give her a big kiss.
Do you think Super Bowl week will get crazier?
You know what? Here's how Super Bowl Sunday actually works. You get a ton of weddings right before kickoff.
And then after.
And then after. Right? So I do anticipate a surge, and just after if your team wins.
Imagine somebody going to watch the game here and coming in after and getting married.
Yeah.
Or even after playing in it. Now that would be a love story.
I couldn't resist. I had to bring it up because it is the talk here, but Travis Kelce has really pushed that talk off. Guys, one other reason it's so convenient to get married here, the Marriage License Bureau in Clark County is open from 8 a.m. until midnight. So that obviously helps a lot.
My daughter is desperately praying for a Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce wedding.
Engagement.
Engagement,
At least.
yes.
At least.
I'm not
Come
sure.
on, after the game.
You're right. He has been pushing it off. All right, Dana, thank you. They're under millions of Christmas trees right now, just raring to go as soon as a lucky kid tears open the wrapping. Hot Wheel cars have been delighting children and many adults for over half a century since Mattel introduced them back in 1968. This morning, Jamie Yukas gives us a rare look inside the place they're designed.
This is where the #1 best-selling toy in the world comes to life. An entire section of Mattel dedicated to Hot Wheels.
Here's a Hot Wheels muscle car, Hot Wheels supercar, Hot Wheels classic race car, race truck, and then this is like a drifting truck.
Designer Brian Benedict takes an idea and turns it into this. A Hot Wheels die-cast car, 64 times smaller than a regular car.
If you could have dreamt up a job when you were a kid, was this it?
Well, yeah, literally. Even when I was a kid, Hot Wheels was my introduction to cars, right? I actually remember writing a letter when I was 8 to Hot Wheels and suggesting different cars they should do. And
You did?
Yeah.
Today, Benedict works with a team of designers, all with a background in the automotive industry, creating these unique designs.
This is really your fantasy and what you get to have fun with.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we have partnerships with all the car companies, and we do authentic replications, but with a little bit of a Hot Wheels spin, right? So we don't just do a regular Nissan Patrol, we do like a amped up, you know, overlanding kind of patrol.
Sometimes the color is probably a little different than what you see out
we'll
in the
do
real world.
wild graphics, that sort of thing.
Rooted in car culture and driven by authenticity, Hot Wheels is still able to create that element of fantasy.
And sometimes we go really crazy by doing a donut car. So we brought in donuts because a lot of times the guys will bring in donuts or whatever, and we were sitting eating donuts and like, oh, this would make a cool car.
So sometimes it's just whatever is in front of you.
Exactly. Yeah, so we're inspired by everything, you know, not just car culture, but the world around us. I like what you've done over here.
The idea starts with a sketch. Then the sculptor will create a digital model and print it out. Once approved, it goes to development engineers in Asia.
We have done about close to 30 of what we call the Garage of Legends cars.
Roberto Stanici is the Senior Vice President, Global Head of Vehicles for Mattel.
We always challenge convention. So if you think about a Hot Wheels car, it's not just any car. There's something unexpected about that car. If you think about a Hot Wheels track, there's something unexpected about that track. There's an element of how fast can you go? Can you make that jump? Are you going to be able to do that loop? And that's what really keeps kids of all ages engaged with the brand for so long.
Stanici got this big kid re-engaged with the brand by letting me play with the giant speed loop in the lobby.
I'm launching a truck.
Oh! Turns out, other women are getting just as excited about the toys these days.
There used to be an idea that Barbie was for girls and you'd buy that for the girls and Hot Wheels were for boys. Has that changed over the years?
Yes, for sure. We know today from research that about a quarter of the Hot Wheels owners are actually girls. And actually, when you look at adults, that number is even higher of women buying Hot Wheels for themselves as collectors. It's about a third.
I'm surprised it's a third.
Yeah. It has to do with that passion for car culture. Hot Wheels is one of the best ways that people have to just showcase their love for a car.
The original set of Hot Wheels consisted of just 16 cars and was intended for kids.
New Hot Wheels, only from Mattel.
Most of the cars cost just $1, but the highly collectible cars can fetch on the secondary market for several $1,000s, with some valued as much as 6 figures.
Hot Wheels was never about just old, boring play. It's always been about speed. It's always been about performance.
And they perform well. Mattel sells 16.5 Hot Wheel cars every second around the world. The evolution of the brand also now includes other play.
This area back here is Tracks and Playsets area.
Paul Schmidt is a playset designer.
How did you come up with this design?
This is a collaboration, like most of our sets here, of a lot of the different designers back here. And we just wanted to come up with something crazy that we hadn't done before.
I would love if that was my job, come up with something crazy.
That's what we do all day long, is try to think of something that no one else has done before.
Oh, yes, I defeated him!
And while taking down dragons and racing new tracks is really fun, Schmidt's job is actually really difficult.
One of the things that people don't understand, there's a lot of math and engineering that goes behind these, because that little 1/64th scale car has no steering, no suspension, and no driver, and it has to perform on crazy sets like this. Math, engineering, physics, a lot of physics for a set like this to get all this to work.
People don't think about that when they're playing with these.
And it's a very important part of our design process.
The brand continues to race into the future with new innovations and no plans of slowing down.
We're always adding more elements of fun. So before you had 1 crash, now you have 3 crashes, now you have 5, now you have an upside down crash, now the crash is in the air. And those different ways of playing just have kept generations and generations engaged. And that evolves beyond toys as well, with video games and different live events and different ways that people can experience the brand.
For CBS Saturday Morning, I'm Jamie Yukas, El Segundo, California.
I totally get why so many women are so into Hot Wheels. I never had a set, but I always played with my friends. Didn't you?
I think now is when we start doing that, because I didn't really grow up playing with Hot Wheels as much, but
You're about to right now.
I see the fun. I
for
see
the
the fun in all
CBS
of this.
Saturday Morning Grand Prix.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
So
You're the
be
ref.
careful, because these roads come together, the opposite of the Frost poem, right? It's not, so, yeah, you don't want to crash here.
Okay.
There's no divergence.
Right.
There's a convergence.
Well, that's the engineering.
Right.
And the winner is the first one to get your car down
Okay.
here.
Okay.
On your mark, get set, go.
Did anyone win? You broke the set.
Oh, my heavens.
There's a lot of power.
This is why I used to have a hard time with Hot Wheels.
Yeah,
because
well,
I was a
let's
little
put this
too
back
rough on
together.
it. Oh
Wow.
my gosh, I'm so embarrassed.
Where did it go? Here.
We will fix
hold
it,
on.
so we don't know who won, do we?
Well, no, because you threw your car across.
I think you may have DQ'd.
You qualified.
I may have won.
I didn't. I completely blew it.
I
oh
like
my.
this, how it works, though. It's like
Yeah,
kind of a cool little...
Well, and I love the fact that there's so many high-tech
one
games these days, and people and children still gravitate towards these
There we go.
wonderful Hot Wheels.
Her designs have been worn by the likes of Beyonce, J-Lo, and Rihanna. Sophia Webster, the 39-year-old British designer behind the eponymous luxury brand. Webster is part of a high heel industry valued at $43 billion and rising. She found her footing with a playful yet feminine approach, jaw-dropping designs with prices ranging from around $400 to over $1,000, growing a single shoe line into a multi-million-dollar brand. We caught up with Webster at her home to, as they say, walk a mile in her shoes, or at the very least, try some on.
These are beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
For the shoe lover, it's a dream come true.
It's such a striking silhouette.
Designer Sophia Webster's shoe closet as your very own playground.
Oh, these are to die for.
It's been worn on the red carpet more times than I can count.
A confectionery of stilettos.
I'm designing them to try and make people smile.
Look at this smile. Just talk like this.
To the shoe.
Talk to the shoe. What do you hope somebody who puts a Sophia Webster shoe on feels like?
I guess like shoes in themselves, you know, especially if you're wearing heels, it gives you a few extra inches of confidence.
Yeah.
You know, you feel like the best version of yourself.
With the attention to detail that Webster has, it would be hard not to. Growing up in a house filled with art and music, Webster says she always had a creative outlet, pursuing her affinity for art at the London College of Fashion. When she was introduced to shoe design, something clicked.
It felt like a really good combination of drawing and designing, but also sculpture, because it's 3D and, you know, it has to be wearable.
It is a sculpture.
Yeah. I like to think of it as like that, like wearable art.
Do you remember that moment when you saw a shoe as a sculpture and not just something that you were wearing on your foot?
Yes, my sister had a pair of Patrick Cox heeled jelly shoes with a Eiffel Tower inside the heel. It was like a snow globe heel. I remember thinking like they were the most amazing shoes I'd ever seen, so I was very inspired by those, yeah.
Turns out, inspiration was always around, like in Webster's hobbies, freestyle disco dancing being one.
You wear like very embellished, sparkly costumes. They have to be brightly coloured so you like catch the judge's attention. Putting unusual colour combinations together and the crystals as well. I've known the Swarovski colour card from when I was about 10.
That sparkly seduction, a bit of a family proclivity, tied to her maternal grandmother, Nanny Peggy.
She had this famous glitter suit that she would wear every Christmas day. And my dad would joke that he would have to hoover up after her.
Nothing wrong with leaving some glitter behind.
Exactly,
Leave a little sparkle.
Yeah, 100%. That was Nanny Peggy, yeah.
From her paternal grandmother came the butterfly, that is now one of Webster's signature shoe adornments.
She loved butterflies. She had like butterfly scarves, butterfly like brooches. She would write me like a letter every week whilst I was at college. And they always had butterfly stickers on them. She was a refugee in the Second World War, so she came to London from Prague. When she got to the UK, she was separated from her mum, and I think the butterfly's ability to evolve and adapt and grow and become something beautiful from a period of struggle really resonated with her.
Webster credits her parents for instilling the tenacity and confidence she needed to pursue her career. In school, she learned from the likes of Manolo Blahnik, then honed her craft interning for Nicholas Kirkwood. In 2012, she earned a spot at London's Fashion Week thanks to a British Fashion Council sponsorship. It was a game changer.
I think the collection, maybe I had like 40 different colorways. Yeah, 40 shoes.
What came of that?
So that was fantastic. You know, just different stylists, editors seeing your collection, and then there's just started being like a lot of hype about the brand.
Even more when a London-based stylist for Rihanna reached out for her client.
And the shoe actually was I called it Riri, so I was trying to, you know, put it out into the universe.
Channel it out there, yeah.
In June 2013, the music mogul introduced Riri the Heel to the world, just as Webster was trying to get her first line off the ground.
And she posted them on her Instagram and everything, so that was really like the first big sort of wow, you know, amazing moment for us. Yeah.
To see Rihanna wear your shoe, what was that moment like?
It was just very surreal. We just sort of started running around the office like screaming, and we shared the studio with the company downstairs, and I think they thought we'd seen a row because they were shouting up the stairs, "Everything okay?" We're like, "Yeah, just Rihanna's got shoes on." Yeah.
More than okay.
And when her debut collection was stocked by high-end retailer Net-a-Porter, Webster, a former fashion event waitress, says she knew she'd made it.
I'd waitressed at Stella McCartney's first birthday party of her store. I remember just having this like tray of canapes and just sort of following Stella McCartney around, thinking like, wow, you know, like I really want to have my own brand. So when my shoes first landed on Net-a-Porter, I scrolled through the list of designer names and I was right next to her. That was when I thought to myself, oh, you know, well done. So if you've set out what you wanted to do and you've done it, that's good.
13 years later, Sophia Webster's brand has only grown, garnering industry awards and more celebrity clientele along the way.
Okay, who are the shoes?
Sophia Webster.
She's also expanded beyond her heeled luxury offerings to include the non-stiletto sphere.
We do like lots of flats, mid-heights, boots, because I think COVID just changed the way that we wear shoes.
There's a bridal line.
It's perfect for any bride.
Sophia Webster handbags and a mini collection for babies and children started with her own little ones in mind. 2 years ago, Webster also became a published author. It started as a way for her to celebrate her wearable sculptures, deciding to draw one pair of shoes from a past collection every day for an entire year.
As I was drawing the shoes, so many stories were like bubbling up. I was like, oh, remember that? I remember when that happened. And then I started writing them down. And then that's when I decided to actually make it into a book, a bit of a memoir.
Sophia Webster is reflected in her shoes.
The heel was its leg, yeah.
From those first designs.
That was from my very, very first collection.
To her most recent spring line, finding as much joy in the creation as the life that comes after.
It's so nice to see when people buy the shoes for like a special moment or some sort of significance, or I have a pair of shoes that say Boss Lady on the front, and I get so many messages from women that have like bought them. The shoes have had a real special part in a moment. And also with the wings, I often see people graduating in the wings, so it's so sweet to see that they're like, you know, starting a new chapter, or they've got their wings. So that's, for me, that's really special. Yeah.
And I mean, just look at this detail. It's unbelievably beautiful. And when I learned the story behind the butterfly, going back to her grandmother and what that meant to her grandmother, it was just everything, because they are little works of art. It's amazing, right?
I love that she knew to send this color palette. I'm just saying.
For you. And by the way, in the book, all those designs that she drew.
Well,
you can find them here in the U.S., yes.
There it is. It is a spectacle that brings over 7,000 competitors from across the globe as bagpipers gathered in Scotland for the World Pipe Band Championships last weekend. Holly Williams went to meet them and found out the unexpected origins of this symbol of Scotland.
They came from New Zealand, from Canada, and from Zimbabwe. The St John's College Pipe Band travelled over 5,000 miles to compete in Scotland.
Obviously, we're feeling quite nervous, but we are feeling quite good. We are feeling quite confident that we're going to win, hopefully.
One of the judges was a veteran piper, Robert Matheson.
It's the music that captivates you. The traditional music seduces you. And even in the youngsters now, playing traditional music and wearing the kilt is cool. It's no longer all about the pop music and the rock music, is it?
The bagpipes are a symbol of Scotland, a proud proclamation of Scottish identity. Loud, often moving, and instantly recognisable. Stephen Blake is the director of Scotland's National Youth Pipe Band. We watched on as he gave a lesson to learners of all levels, some of them absolute beginners.
So we're going to go F, E and F. Ready? I'll just give you a shout, so don't worry about the rhythm yet. So F. That's perfect. Let's give that a go together. 3, 4. Very good. You should honestly stick to this.
Afterwards, he gave me a private lesson. At first, it seemed like I might be a star student.
That's it. So blow, blow, blow. Keep blowing. That's it.
Until, that is, I had to get a sound.
Keep blowing.
Any sound.
Blow, blow, blow.
Out of the big wig.
Excellent. Okay, very good. I think you've been a very good sport about it. Do you want me to hold them for a sec?
It's such hard work to get a tiny sound.
You did very well, though.
I have to stop for a second. And this is how it's supposed to go. It's hard to believe today, but bagpipes almost died out in Scotland when the British government cracked down on rebellious Scottish clans in the 1700s and tried to suppress Highland culture, including banning civilian men from wearing tartan. But as regiments of Scottish soldiers began to play a key role in British colonial conquests, their pipers went with them.
The pride of the North, giving London an unforgettable thrill.
Now the bagpipes are often associated with the British military and the royal family. A pipe band accompanied the late Queen's coffin to her funeral in 2022.
Where do these bagpipes come from?
Professor Hugh Cheap is an expert in the history of bagpipes. He told us their origins can be traced back over 2,500 years.
Where?
Iraq, southern Iraq. That's where the excavation found this evidence of an early form of pipe.
So you're saying the origins of the Scottish bagpipes are in Iraq?
Well, shh, don't speak that too loudly, because that's a long way from Scotland.
The bagpipes may be an import, but they're also a Scottish export. And they've even been married with other musical traditions, like this Indian piper, known as the snake charmer, who plays Scottish tunes Punjabi style. The Uplanders are an American pipe band, drawn from high schools in California and Wyoming. They spent 3 years rehearsing for the World Championships and fundraising to pay for their tickets to Glasgow. Their pipe major is Martha Hill, who also teaches many of the young musicians.
What do you love about it?
I love how unique it is. I love the sound. It stirs like something in people, when they hear it. It just stirs a lot of emotions, and I just love it.
A Scottish icon that speaks to people from many different cultures and traditions. For CBS Saturday Morning, Holly Williams, Glasgow, Scotland.
Okay, love everything about this piece.
Yes.
Especially Holly trying
And
this.
her reaction,
And her
right?
reaction. I've never seen her laugh that hard.
Did she get an ice cream pane or something?
I don't know, but now I really want to try. To see how hard that is.
It is hard. You know, when I was traveling through the Middle East, I heard the story of it being from Iraq. And I remember telling people in America.
And they're like, no.
They're like, no way, no
That's
way.
crazy.
So Holly Williams brings the education.
I know, I love that.
To the forefront.
Also, the pipe band from the top from Zimbabwe, they actually won their category in the Youth World Championship. They came in first in the novice B section, so it was the guys at the top there.
I love it.
Holly, keep at it. You
I
can
know.
do it. I believe in you.
We do. We do.
On the dish this morning, the company that's been feeding America since the beginning. Founded in 1790, King Arthur was launched at the same time George Washington was giving his first State of the Union address. Ever since, it's been king when it comes to flour, the building block of our baked goods. Even after 230 years, however, times keep changing, as we found out on a recent visit. Nestled halfway up Vermont, near the border with New Hampshire, is a picturesque town called Norwich, featuring the Mecca of baking. At King Arthur, they make mouth-watering pastries and bread, sell baking products, offer a cafe.
King Arthur Baker's Hotline, this is David.
And even a call center where anyone with a baking emergency can reach out.
Yeah, absolutely. If it's in the refrigerator, the yeast activity is slowed down quite a bit.
Not to mention a classroom where Amber Eisler, their school's baking director, showed us the finer, gentler points of the croissant baking process.
So we are going to whack this butter. So we're going to do that by...
Or not.
See how yours is flying off and mine didn't, right?
Yeah.
Give it a little twist of the wrist. All right, you're doing great. Okay. That's probably enough. Okay.
Violent. It was violent?
Look at her, said look at you.
She said to whack it. Bam Bam and Amber will get back to the croissant making in a second. But first, a little more about this place. King Arthur is 100% employee-owned and built on the foundation of a famous red bag, a beacon to baking connoisseurs that recently got a different name and logo. Some people come in here and start crying.
We believe strongly in the power of baking.
Karen Kohlberg is the co-CEO of the King Arthur Baking Company. King Arthur was the flour company for 230 years.
Yes.
And then became King Arthur Baking Company. Why?
We want to be the teacher of baking. We want to be the inspiration for baking. Remaining relevant, being current, wanting to be around for another 200 years, we needed to change the rebrand and change the name of the company because we'd always been a baking company.
So now to form the croissant, we're going to pick up a piece of dough and just gently elongate a little bit. This will give us more layers as we roll it up. And then where there was that notch at the top, we're just going to open it up a little bit and then we'll fold it over and begin rolling. So you can walk it all the way or you can just roll.
Oh, yes, look at that.
Perfect. Woo. All right, there you go.
Thank you. Wow. We let our croissants rise for a couple hours and coated them in an egg wash before putting them in the oven to bake for about 20 minutes. The main ingredient is King Arthur's unbleached white flour. In 2020 alone, the company sold 156 million pounds of it. Martin Phillip is King Arthur's baking ambassador.
The mindset that we use to approach baking is different than what I do for cooking. Cooking is in many ways improvisational, right? Baking is not that. Baking is about setting a course and using precision to a degree to control what goes into the bowl to have the best outcome. And the people who often do the best baking are like engineers or people like that who bring that mindset.
Because you're looking at something far off.
Yeah, you know, baking takes time. You know, it's like making wine. Bread makers are like the wine makers of the sort of carbohydrate world.
Philip believes unconditionally in the power of baking to not just bring ingredients, but people together. Which is why after the 2016 election, he set out on a road trip back to where he grew up.
There was more division in society than what is necessary or even normal. And so I looked at food as a way to come together. And so I took the ingredients to make biscuits, put a banjo on my back, and got an old bicycle and went back to where I'm from in Arkansas and just started riding and cold calling homes and trying to talk to people.
Because you think biscuits and banjos can bring people together?
I think so. What I figured was that if they didn't like the music, they could at least eat a biscuit, you know what I mean? So it was a hedge a little bit. For yeasted breads, we want to control the temperature of the dough, right?
Today, Philip develops recipes for King Arthur and stars in their instructional videos, which reach millions.
Is your goal to try to get people to eat new kinds of bread or to get better at baking the bread they already make?
Yes. Yeah, definitely both. I mean, what we want to do is write recipes which are based on the foundations of baking, which make beautiful bread, but also bring ingredients in that are compelling. So this one has Italian black rice and black sesame in it. There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll trade you.
Give you that.
It's nutty as hell, right?
It's nutty as hell. I kind of like the thin cut.
Yeah.
I do?
Yeah. I think there's a lot to be said for the fact that community, you know, is where, you know, baking began and community grew out of that, I think. Food is where community began, right? And I believe that. And I see it every day because we produce content that touches people across the world and we hear from them. So the next time you're working on your baguettes or your croissants, you have a question, you can give us a call.
Ah, yes, those croissants.
Whew. All right, let's cut into one and see how we did.
Look at that.
Do you see that? Kind of the honeycomb shape.
Yeah, beautiful.
All right, cheers.
Cheers. Wow. They were so good. We established fairly quickly that I don't always have the patience required to bake properly.
You did not do well on the butter whacking.
I didn't whack the butter well.
Was that butter? I thought that was...
It's high-fat European butter.
Wow.
She told me to crush it, so I crushed it, but it was all over the place.
You know what, Jeff? You did crush the piece.
This bread is amazing.
Yeah, so we have 5-seed sourdough in front of you.
Can I try this one?
Yeah, just take the loaf.
Tear a piece.
Sure.
Tear a piece off.
The 5-seed sesame we have some butter here. There's some jam with it and some honey.
By the way, it doesn't need anything on it.
Look
I've
at
been putting stuff on it.
This one though. This is
the.
I can't even get it.
I know that.
Look at this thing. Look at this melon.
I know.
I mean,
take a piece.
Isn't that
of
impressive?
Cut into that.
So good. Yeah. You didn't bake that though, right?
I did not make this. They sent it to us.
Every other ball used in Major League Baseball for nearly 80 years is actually covered with mud harvested from the banks of the Delaware River in New Jersey. The practice has spread to other sports, including football. And as Steve Overmeyer shows us, that said one man to getting his fingerprints all over the sport.
This is the sound of football. Not that you'd hear it on Sundays. It's the quiet work that happens before the games can begin.
More harsh the weather, the more you need a ball that's going to react in a way that there's always going to be grip.
In this garage in New Jersey, Dan Colson is doing what factories can't. He takes something slick and new and makes it feel worn and trusted.
It's a great honor, it's a great responsibility to know that folks are going to ask you to touch something that is as important, if not more important, than any product in the game itself.
Every ball passes through his hands, one at a time. His results are so trusted he conditions leather for dozens of college programs and more than half the NFL.
I mix it up, the water's always going to separate and rise to the top, so it's easy to mix with your fingers. Get it on your fingers. That's when the fun begins.
Mud is his secret ingredient. More specifically, mud from New Jersey.
What's special about New Jersey mud that makes this the perfect level of tackiness?
Delta mud of where the salt water mixes with the fresh water makes it a little more pure, if you will. Regular folks in middle America, unfortunately, don't get that same luxury of mud that we look at here in New Jersey. So from here to here is about 8 to 12 hours. But it's also very finicky. You leave the mud on too long, it's too dry. It'll dry out too quickly. If you let it sit not long enough, when you actually brush it, you'll scrape the ball because it's still wet underneath.
One ball at a time, he coaxes extra grip out of the leather while making it softer. May not seem like much until the weather turns cold or rainy and you're a quarterback.
The reality is you want guys to use their talents and not even think about the ball. Similarly to what you think about with sneakers.
In this little shop, he is equal parts scientist, artist, and caretaker, bringing chemistry and craftsmanship to the football itself.
You want to still impact the game in some way. Some coach, some get into sports medicine. I happen to be a ball boy.
Call him a ball boy if you like. Truth is, the game carries his fingerprints.
Journey of the football.
For CBS Saturday Morning, Steve Overmeyer, Bayonne, New Jersey.
Now that's some skill, talent, and love.
Yeah, we did a story on the guy who actually gets the mud, how they get the mud, and we're reposting that on social media so people can check that out. This morning on The Dish, we pay a visit to L'Appartement 4F. The bakery born inside a tiny Brooklyn apartment is now beloved by New Yorkers on both sides of the East River. As Lilia Luciano discovered, it's a bit of modern fairy tale with flour as the pixie dust.
Just off the scenic promenade overlooking the city in charming Brooklyn Heights lies a bakery that feels like the set of a New York City romance. By the lengths of the lines, you'd think everyone in New York is looking for love.
And an almond croissant?
L'Appartement 4F began with a meet-cute between a school nurse and a software engineer.
We met in a bar in the Upper East Side in 2016. Our eyes crossed, and then we talked.
Ashley Coiffat, a New Yorker. Her husband Gauthier from Southeast France.
You like that one?
Neither had official culinary experience.
Okay, can I try that?
I always liked baking just for myself.
Yeah, I like this sweeter one though.
It started as a hobby in 2019.
It actually began with him making a sourdough starter.
Oh, like everybody else during COVID.
Yeah, he actually made it a little bit before the pandemic. It was just this like oozy thing that was falling out of a mason jar, and I thought it was gross and I would make fun of him for it. And then it wasn't until he actually made bread that I changed my tune.
Ashley changed her tune and her tone, she says, forcing the bread and sweets on her coworkers.
I bullied them into buying it, and they were like, sure, whatever. And then they came back after eating all of your croissants and pies and just handed me a little bit of money and said, okay, next week, whatever your French fiance wants to make, we'll buy more.
At the time, they needed the extra cash for their upcoming French wedding. Then came COVID. There suddenly was more time to spend in the kitchen and growing an audience of clients on social media. They grew so fast that Ashley reluctantly pivoted to meet the demand.
I loved working at the school that I was at. I worked so hard for it, so I didn't want to give it up right away. Gauthier was excited to quit.
I think one of the hard part was the way my family took it. Because if you tell them you're gonna go from being an engineer to a baker, it's...
What did they tell you?
Do it.
Like, why? Yeah, you're gonna have no life, you have no money.
They took the dough and the dream so seriously, the business took over their tiny home.
Our whole apartment had basically turned into a bakery. We had a freezer in our bedroom. It was a tiny apartment. Our oven was breaking and our refrigerator was overheating.
Then serendipity, as if Brooklyn itself had been eavesdropping.
The Brooklyn Heights Association reached out to us and they're like, oh, we're looking for a bakery. Are you guys ever going to open a storefront? And we had no clue what that meant, but we decided, yes, we wanted to.
They put everything on the line. Their wedding fund, they racked up credit card debt, launched a Kickstarter, and even borrowed from neighbors. One thing they had was a name.
So I remember saying, oh, Apartment 4F would be a good idea. But Ashley said, I think we should make it French. The official pronunciation would be l'appartement 4F.
They opened in May 2022, and the crowds have not stopped coming. The lines every weekend are endless.
Yeah, we were not expecting the lines. We thought it was going to be kind of like an in-and-out sleepy cafe.
I mean, my bed was this. I was
Yeah,
staying
he
here.
was like sleeping.
And we would sell out after an hour.
Today, they have a test kitchen where dough is shaped, flattened into 28 layers, glazed with butter, and rolled into the perfect croissants. Others get bursts of color and flavor.
We call it le framboise. That's almond raspberry. So people think it's jam in there, but it's actually raspberry chocolate.
Oh, it's actually raspberry chocolate inside?
Yes.
Okay. The chocolate is imported from France, and the croissants topped with freeze-dried raspberries. Another original creation, rose petal pistachio, an homage to Ashley's Persian roots. And there's the Queen Amman.
That means butter cake.
My personal favorite, a plain croissant with a New York City twist. You also have the everything topping. How did you think of that?
I wanted it because I love everything bagels, and I feel like they're very New York. And so I asked if he would make an everything croissant. He said no.
Was
For
it
a
kind of
long time.
sacrilegious?
Yeah. But eventually he did it, and people like it.
For the true starring role of the story,
It's definitely a treat, like a special breakfast.
their world-famous petite céréale. It's so hard to make, the large box goes for $50 and sells out almost every day.
Just very, very, very thin layer.
The croissants are dehydrated for 12 hours, then topped with some cinnamon syrup. The milk is technically optional, but shouldn't be passed up. Have you tried to sell this in France? Do French people have strong opinions about
Yes, I mean, some press came from France and asked us about it. They did a story, they came here and said, oh, we're gonna do a story about food in the US. But they didn't really explain the angle, and the angle was those people destroying French gastronomy.
But then they try it.
Yeah, they say we have to admit we like it.
Yeah. What is it like to see people experiencing for the first time, biting into the croissants and reacting in this way that I'm melting right now?
It's fun. I mean, sometimes I just go up here, I sit at a table and just be on my phone, but really I'm listening to people. Just,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You hear the reactions?
Yeah,
And that love at first bite keeps growing. They've opened a second location in New York's West Village and at night in Brooklyn, what started as that bakery turns into a romantic candlelit wine bar and restaurant. So many people had side hustles or developed hobbies throughout the pandemic, and your story has continued to flourish.
I think it's because we were both honestly happy with where we were in life. I genuinely thought people should try his croissants. It wasn't to chase success or earn money or anything like that. It was just kind of genuinely like, I want people to try it. And I think that kind of comes across.
Gotta love their story. And what do you think? The croissant pretty good.
Oh my
God. I had the cereal, and I will say, you could eat it without, but I swear it's better with the milk. There's something about it. Everything is just delicious.
And the cookie, oh my gosh, it just wakes up your mouth. I've just fallen in crush land.
Oh my God.
With her husband. I feel bad about that. Gautier, I'm sorry.
feel bad
I'm so
about that
sorry,
for her
Ashley.
or to
I
your
do.
own
I do.
husband?
Huh? Yeah, well, my husband too. He would
Sorry, Mark.
understand because those croissants are like killer.
Gautier, the raspberry one. Oh my God.
Oh, it's so good.
We're going to introduce you to a sport that's been around for more than a century, but remains something of a mystery. It combines a bit of the Old West with some newfangled tricks on skis. Ever heard of skijoring? Janet Chamlian was among those in the dark before we sent her in search of a ride.
Go! It's the wildest winter sport you may never have heard of. Skijoring is an adrenaline-soaked blend of horses, riders, and skiers. Racing through a short course packed with snow at top speed as the skier holds onto a rope for dear life, navigating jumps along the way. Cheering fans are inches from the action.
What's the attraction of skijoring? There's not many opportunities you get to be literally feet away from a 1,200, 1,500 pound animal with rider on back pulling a skier at 40 miles an hour past your nose.
Duffy Council runs Leadville, Colorado's annual skijoring competition, one of the nation's oldest.
From the rider's first yell to the skier yelling, go, 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 go. I'm getting goosebumps right now. You can hear the crowd as a spectator like the wave from the start to the finish. It's tough to put into words.
Why haven't more people heard of it?
It may just be starting to grow its roots in pop culture America. You know, here in Leadville, it's been going on for 75 years.
For 10 of those years, Savannah McCarthy has been Leadville's reigning champ, winning her first skijoring competition at just 13 against a field of mostly men.
What's the attraction of skijoring?
I always wanted to be a jockey, but I'm a little bit too big to be a jockey. So this was like the closest thing I could get.
All right, you good?
There's just not a lot of other sports where you can just go full speed.
Challenge right now.
For McCarthy, it's a family affair. Her sister Jade competes, and her parents used to. Despite fame in the skijoring world, many in hers have no idea what it is.
I'm a broker at a financial firm, so
Really
nothing
different.
much different.
What do your coworkers think?
They definitely have never heard of it. Every time I bring it up, they're like, ski what?
Some host cities are heating up the challenge even more. In Montana, skiers race through fire as the snow flies. This is not for the faint of heart.
Oh, man. Any injuries over the years?
I've had a few. I've had a broken nose. I've had a few concussions here and there. I landed on top of a minivan one time.
They call it skijoring.
Skijoring started in Nordic countries with reindeer as a way to get around. Skiers over the years found themselves behind motorcycles, cars.
The horse fell victim to the mechanical revolution.
Even an aircraft or two, before the sport found its way to mountain towns here.
What does this mean to Leadville?
This is arguably the most iconic Wild West event that this town has ever seen.
Council no longer skijors, blaming 7 knee surgeries. His son Brennan has taken up the mantle while he ensures Leadville is ready. Savannah bravely allowed me on her championship horse Money.
You so got it. Awesome.
Who would go on hours later to win Leadville once again.
Does it still bring the same adrenaline rush?
It does. It's never going to get old, I think, no matter how many times I do it. And you definitely feel like a bit of a celebrity. Kind of hard not to when you've got like, 4,000 people watching you, cheering for you.
A mix of ski bum swagger and cowboy culture. The result, one epic ride. For CBS Saturday Morning, I'm Janet Shamlian in Leadville, Colorado.
No jet skiing.
I mean, it has flames, it has horses.
Yep.
I thought Janet was going to take off there for a minute. I was glad that she just was calmly walking there.
Never
Little trot.
well.
It looks amazing.
Yeah.
When it comes to summertime libations, there is one drink that's as popular as it is familiar, the pina colada. The frozen cocktail is a favorite at beach bars everywhere, including on the island of Puerto Rico, the birthplace of the pina colada. Manuel Bajorquez visited to learn how the drink is tied to the island's identity.
It's no wonder they call this the Island of Enchantment. Crystal blue waters and white sandy beaches perfectly complement the tropical flavors of Puerto Rico. And if you had to put that feeling in a glass, it would be this, the pina colada.
And there's nothing better than a pina colada because it says everything about the island, all of the flavors, it just comes all together perfect.
Jose Roque is a bartender and mixologist at the Caribe Hilton in San Juan.
So why do you think it's so popular?
Because people come here on vacation and they're expecting, something very, very Puerto Rican. So as soon as you go out to the beach or to the pool, you just want to have like a very refreshing cocktail.
So how did this sweet, creamy drink come to be? Well, the writing's on the wall. The Caribe Hilton proudly displays its story of how the pina colada was invented in 1954 by the hotel's bartender, Ramon Monchito Marrero.
So he was challenged on a cocktail competition to make a drink that would captivate all of the island flavors. So he used some fresh pineapple, fresh coconuts, because we have a lot of palm trees here. He added some heavy cream and no rum at that time.
No rum at that time.
And it was handshaken.
Handshaken.
And then served with crushed ice because we didn't have blenders at those times.
The hotel says it now sells 59,000 pina coladas a year. But there's a little trouble in Paradise. Another restaurant across town, the Barrachina, claims the drink was invented there and even has a plaque commemorating its birth in 1963.
So if another bar says they invented it, you're saying no.
No, San Juan, and it's not.
It was here.
It was here.
Truth is, people were likely mixing some combination of those flavors with rum for some time.
Going back to basics again.
Speaking of mixing, it's time to taste. First, the 1954 original. Pineapple juice, coconut cream, heavy cream, shaken, topped with crushed ice.
Wow. Yeah. That's refreshing.
Back to 1954.
Back to 1954.
Classic.
I'll take it. I'll go back.
A classic.
Now the modern take. Cut out the heavy cream, add local rum, and mix with ice in the blender.
I mean, so refreshing.
It goes more out with the
if we were
outside,
where it's warm and you have the breeze of the ocean, I mean, it all goes perfectly
It goes
together.
perfect, right?
It's so nice, and that chilling effect on a warm island from this drink. It's great.
It's great too.
And the pineapple, the coconut, you taste everything. And the rum.
And the rum.
But just as the drink reflects the beauty and flavors of Puerto Rico, it can also highlight some of its recent struggles. Take pineapples, for example. A decades-long shift away from agriculture on the island forced a reliance on imported fruits, meaning fewer Puerto Rican pineapples, which makes the local kind more expensive. The farms that remained took another giant hit in 2017, Hurricane Maria. Don Manuel Machado runs Finca Don Manuel, a fruit farm.
But it's so difficult when a storm hit Puerto Rico.
He says most of his plants were destroyed. Now he's encouraged by a generation of younger Puerto Ricans
Es una piña preciosa.
who want to revitalize local pineapple production.
I think that the young people have an interest to produce, to compete farmers. Beautiful. Maybe 6 pounds. 10 years ago, not have this enough people interested in agriculture.
The interest in local agriculture is also picking up on the rum side of things.
La isla mide solamente 90 millas.
Jose Alvarez runs San Juan Artisan Distillers.
Sugarcane had disappeared in Puerto Rico. We rescued Puerto Rico heirloom varieties and we propagated them for 5 years. And we have a plot of about 100 acres of sugarcane.
Hurricane Maria hit him hard too.
Very cool.
Isn't that great?
But now Alvarez grows and harvests the sugarcane.
And that's all the good stuff
that's
is right in there,
juice
right?
just seeps out, yep.
Which is fermented in French cognac pot stills.
If these were still in France, they would
be making cognac.
They would be making cognac.
He was eager to show us the fruits of his distillery's labor. This is their white Ron Pepon.
Basically, you can feel the amazing notes of the grassiness, the flavor of burnt sugarcane, burnt sugar, and it's really extraordinary.
He also has a line of rums infused with locally sourced tropical fruits.
I think it's an example for Puerto Rico also that you can use our land and produce agricultural goods and process them into a finished product. And that could generate so many jobs and add so much to our economy that it's basically the model that we follow.
Back at the Caribe Hilton, Jose Roque is also looking to put his touch on the island's official drink, using the pina colada as an inspiration for other cocktails, like his old-fashioned, made with premium aged rum, coconut bitters, a house-made pineapple syrup, and garnished with orange peel and cherry.
Here we go.
Salud.
Gracias, salud.
Cheers.
Oh, wow. That's smooth, but you get...
Completely different, right?
Yeah, it's different from the pina colada, clearly, but you still get...
Those flavors.
Those flavors in there. It's delicious.
Those flavors that make these tropical drinks a delight on this Isla del Encanto, the island of enchantment. For CBS Saturday Morning, Manuel Bojorquez, San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Cheers to you, Manny.
Cheers.
Thank you for
Manny.
having pina coladas for us.
So this is the original 1954 recipe with heavy cream, coconut cream, pineapple juice, crushed ice. You know what's missing?
Nothing?
Rum. There's no rum in the original recipe like Manny mentioned,
Oh,
but it's still delicious.
I'll take it. I was gonna say, it's absolutely delicious, but maybe we'll dump in a little rum.
Gosh, I love being here with you guys on Saturdays. Get to eat and drink.
To your heart's content. This morning on The Dish, Russ Daughters, a New York institution specializing in appetizing, which is basically dairy and fish, or as described in a new cookbook, foods you eat with a bagel. Appetizing honors kosher dietary rules, which restrict combining dairy and meat. But here's the thing, you don't need to know any of that to take absolute delight in this old world cuisine.
If you guys are ready, I can help you guys out.
To step into Russ and Daughters is to partially step into the past.
You want that tomatoes, onions, and capers on that?
You take a number,
93, 94.
and wait for the timeless taste of its offerings.
In an appetizing store, there is so much to choose from. Do you have favorite foods?
Strangely, one of my favorites is this tuna salad.
It never gets old for Josh Russ Tupper.
One of my other favorites right now, and this is a beauty contest, right?
Yes.
Is the pastrami salmon on a toasted bialy with butter. Super simple.
Josh is a great-grandson of Joel Russ, who opened his appetizing store in 1914. It's been run by family ever since.
You're surrounded by your family and so much history. What's that like for you?
It's wonderful. Being sort of the torchbearer of this business, and that's really how we think of ourselves, me and my cousin.
Our great-grandfather's literally staring at us, kind of like with Mona Lisa eyes, tracking us.
Nikki Russ Fetterman is Josh's cousin and business partner.
I grew up as a shop kid because my parents ran Russ Daughters. So literally Russ Daughters was a mom and pop because it was my mom and pop.
Nikki's father, Mark, originally practiced law. His nephew, Josh, a disillusioned semiconductor engineer in Oregon. Nikki tried various careers. None were able to ignore the lure of what Joel Russ built from the ground up.
He was an Eastern European immigrant. This was in 1907. He needed a way to make some money, and he started by selling herring out of a barrel here on the streets of the Lower East Side. Herring was a cheap form of very nutritious food. It reminded these new arrivals of their homeland that they had left.
In the early 1900s, New York's Lower East Side was the landing place for immigrants from all over, each bringing the unique traditions that would become ingrained in American food culture. From Italian bakeries to Chinese dumpling shops, Jewish delicatessens, and more. And as the population expanded, so did the businesses.
It took him 7 years to go from a barrel to having a push cart, and then in 1914 he was able to open up a shop.
Yeah, it's a perfect example of the streets of that time.
1929.
Yeah, this is the shop where it's still there today.
Wow.
It had a different name originally. Actually, it was J. Russ National Appetizing.
In 1933, Joel Russ changed the name and leaned on his 3 daughters, including Josh and Nikki's grandmother, Anne.
As you were growing up, what did your grandmother tell you about that time?
I mean, in all honesty, not very much. We know it wasn't what she wanted to do. Right? She wanted to open a dress shop, to which her father said absolutely not. And she worked in the business and then married, and they both worked in the business with her sisters and their husbands.
I think the difference is that she didn't have a choice. They just had to do as they were told.
Yeah.
And then my father's generation, that was the 3rd generation, and for me and Josh, like, we could have done, and we did do different things professionally, but we made the choice. We chose and wanted this to be our path.
That path includes building a bridge into the future. On the centennial of the founding of Russ and Daughters, Josh and Nikki opened a cafe just a few blocks south of the original Houston Street shop.
Neither one of us had any restaurant experience. I think we're really grounded by just staying committed to what we knew. And we said, if we can just translate the store and what we do there into a sit-down experience, then we can do that. And we can learn the rest as we go.
We both see ourselves as torchbearers of this business and brand, but we're really trying to stay true to those historical references and ultimately make our family proud and not mess it up.
Now, Nikki and Josh are sharing their family's stories and recipes from 100 years of appetizing in a cookbook. We sampled just a few of Russ and Daughters' specialties: potato latkes, double fried and served with creme fraiche and salmon roe.
The latkes are phenomenal. Was there any thought of, these are so good, we don't want people to be able to make them at home? We should not give them this recipe?
For a lot of the recipes.
Yeah.
Matzo ball soup.
I'm stealing the matzo ball soup. Sorry.
Yes.
I'm
Jewish
sure.
penicillin.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you guys get it whenever you want.
It's so healing. You know?
It's healing and it's home.
And of course, bagels and lox.
For me, a bagel with cream cheese and smoked salmon is the greatest combination of all time. But then you talk to people who did not grow up with this, and it's very bizarre to them. Like, you put cheese with fish.
Eat it in the morning.
In the morning.
The fish isn't cooked. Wait, I don't understand. Wait.
No surprise, there was dessert. I started with the chocolate babka.
Because I've been smelling it this whole time and just wanting to take a bite. And I'm like, okay, I'm just taking some.
It's made in their 18,000 square foot facility in the Brooklyn Navy Yard, which they opened in 2018. It's where they bake everything from bagels to challah to black and white cookies.
You split it down.
I split it down the middle usually. I shouldn't. If I split the other way, I can go.
And then you can alternate. Like, you know?
That's exactly what I just did.
Or you can make a sandwich.
We actually we make a black and white latke. It's in the cookbook.
Oh, that's great.
From their cookbooks to their expansions, 111 years and 4 generations later, what started as selling fish in a barrel has become a dining dynasty.
Do you ever think, what would my great-grandfather think of seeing all this and seeing where you've brought Russ and Daughters? This place that for him was just about feeding his family and having a job?
I think about that original name, J. Russ National Appetizing, and I think he would be so proud that, 4 generations of this family have continued what he started, and that people come from all over the world to Russ and Daughters every day. And I don't think he could have imagined it, but he would be really proud.
There's absolutely no doubt. I am feeding you, obviously. Russ and Daughters sent over a feast, a veritable feast. But let me say this, they're 4th generation, so the question is, what about
the 5th?
Their kids are too young to say right now, but I loved what both Nikki and Josh said about the idea that if their kids do go into this business, it will be because they choose it the same way they found it. We've got bagel lox and bubala. You've got to have some of the black and white cooking.
Thank you, my darling. I'm curious, did the daughters ever come around to loving the business?
Well, no, this was the daughters had to go into the father's business. It was simply it. And as they talked about, their grandmother wasn't telling them some of these stories. But what mattered was that later on, these were the ones that wanted, the same way Nikki's father found it. He went back into it, she went into it, and Josh went into it.
What a yummy, yummy, yummy display. Thank you so much. Well,
important thing is you're all right. Good health, the most important thing. More than success, more than money, more than power.
50 years ago, The Godfather Part 2 was just hitting theaters nationwide. The Oscar-winning film catapulted an unlikely newcomer to movie stardom, Lee Strasberg. His success came from a trademark method of preparation, still an influence in the acting world, even decades after his death, thanks to Lee Strasberg's Institute, with campuses in Los Angeles and New York City. Its alum include dozens of Hollywood and Broadway stars. Our team was invited inside the Institute to learn more about the Method Man.
You go through the whole body, inch by inch, relaxing each part of the body.
It may look like these acting students are exhausted, but class has just begun.
And just let everything go. You're breathing and relaxing. We examine ourselves. It's a lot about a self-examination, self-reflection. Where do I hold my tension?
Lola Cohen teaches at the Strasberg Institute in New York.
We ask the students to make a list. How am I like the character? How am I different from the character? When you're different from the character, you have to supply a reality that will reveal the inner life or the psychology of the character.
To supply that inner life, Institute founder Lee Strasberg developed a training program based on the work of Russian theater great Konstantin Stanislavski, known simply as the method.
But what is method acting?
So method acting is using your own experience to be truthful and alive in the moment. That's it.
Lee's son David is the Institute's artistic director.
I do think there are special talents in the world, but I also think that anyone who follows the process will get better as an actor. You can actually train muscle memory that responds really, really fast and consistently.
Dozens of stars studied Strasberg's method at the Institute, from Scarlett Johansson and Lady Gaga to Chris Evans and Miles Teller.
I think there's a lot of approaches and techniques and ways to teach acting, but for me, this was the right approach.
You're late. Highway was jammed with broken heroes on a last chance power drive.
Michael Imperioli, perhaps best known for his Emmy-winning turn as Christopher Moltisanti on The Sopranos, began his career at the Institute.
You're not a method actor just because you're staying in character all day. A method actor is someone who's trying to make these imaginary circumstances real.
He knew how to get any actor or actress working on themselves.
Dominique Chianese co-starred with Imperioli on the show.
You may run North Jersey, but you don't run your Uncle Junior.
Hyman Roth always makes money for his partners.
And played a key role in The Godfather Part 2, Johnny Ola, the right-hand man to Lee Strasberg's Hyman Roth.
Working with him was really wonderful because he was very supportive of me as an actor.
It was his first time on the big screen.
I always knew where my cue was on the stage, but on the film, somebody forgot to tell me to make an entrance.
We never met. Johnny Ola.
I expected somebody to say, we're going to do the scene now. All of a sudden, I hear screaming out, "Where the hell is Johnny Ola?" They had to do the whole thing over again. And Pacino has a sense of humor. When they finally did the scene, he said, "Dominic, that was some entrance."
Though Chianese wasn't the only latecomer.
The sort of cherry on the sundae in Godfather Part 2, of course, is that Lee Strasberg makes his film debut.
This is the business we've chosen. I didn't ask. Who gave the order?
So you actually see the great teacher of method acting himself act on camera for the first time.
Isaac Butler is author of The Method, How the 20th Century Learned to Act. We met at New York's iconic bookstore, The Strand, one of Strasberg's favorite hangouts.
Is there any film more tied to The Method than The Godfather Part 2?
Both of the first two Godfather movies are incredibly important to the history of method acting. All the pieces come together in those films.
The cast was led by Strasberg's protege, Al Pacino, and his contemporary Robert De Niro, as well as Marlon Brando, who took the method mainstream in the 1950s.
I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody.
This is a revolution taking place on camera. And there were a series of people around who were able to say, I could tell you how he did that and I can teach you how to do it.
Many thought Brando was taught by Strasberg at the Actors Studio, the elite workshop he led for decades before starting the Institute.
The only requirement for membership in the Actors Studio is talent.
But the Don was the disciple of a rival guru, Stella Adler. She and Strasberg had both been students of Stanislavski.
Strasberg's approach is you're going to dig deep into yourself, you're going to find the truth within yourself through a bunch of exercises and work, and it's going to come out. Stella Adler's is let's look at the text. Let's look at research into how the character would have lived, their external reality and stuff like that. Let's combine that, and then yourself will elevate to fill this vessel that you have filled.
Those personal truths continue to be seen in the Godfather series.
So my dad was an immigrant, and my dad came here on a boat like probably in steerage, right? As like a 6-7-year-old boy through Ellis Island. They used to check you for like diseases and all this kind of stuff. And I guess my dad had pink eye, right? You know, the infection, which is highly contagious. And they drew an X on his back. Nurse. And they took him away from his mom. You know, you're 7 years old, don't speak the language in New York. And some man, I'll get emotional every time I think about it, some man who we will never know who he is, what he looks like, saw him, saw his mom, and went, and wiped off the X off his back and pushed him back over to his mom, right? It's like, but for that, there's no Lee Strasberg.
More than 4 decades since his death, the Lee Strasberg legacy lives on.
All of this is geared towards creating a character, even though it seems like separate work.
You're carrying the torch.
I am.
For this next generation.
Right.
Why did you decide you were going to be a standard bearer?
I fell in love with the work. I was mesmerized by the work. That's it. That's it. It's thrilling to watch students blossom and bloom after having, you know, me making a judgment call that they have no talent, which I never do anymore because you never know when talent is revealed.
And there it is. But really, the proof is in the pudding. Think about it. Charlize Theron, Jack Nicholson, Hilary Swank, Dustin Hoffman, Natalie Portman, Robert De Niro, all Oscar winners. But I love what Michael Imperioli said. He's like, look, if it works for you, use it.
Right.
And the method is like his means.
As a former theater kid, you always heard about it. It was such a cool piece, Michelle.
Thank you. And you can stream the entire Godfather saga on Paramount Plus. How about that?
Nearly a third of Americans plan to participate in Dry January this month, which kicked off around the same time the Surgeon General issued an advisory about alcohol's link to cancer. The annual non-drinking ritual is especially popular with younger Americans and is part of a growing movement aimed at rethinking our relationship with alcohol year-round. Chanel Call joins us now with more. Chanel, good morning.
Hey, good morning. You may have seen this pop up on your social media feed. It's called the Sober Curious movement. It's less about quitting drinking this month and more about mindful consumption throughout the year.
1, 2, 3, 4. That is what we call a counting 4.
On New Year's Day, the drinks were flowing at this jam-packed Manhattan bar. These cocktails look and even smell like the real thing, but everything served here is alcohol-free. Hecate is New York City's first and only sober bar.
Cheers.
Cheers.
A place for people like John Maloney looking for the bar experience without the booze.
My first job ever out of undergrad was at Anheuser-Busch. We partied like every night. I was just tired all the time. I didn't feel good about it.
Now he's part of a growing group of Americans calling themselves sober curious.
If somebody orders a great bottle of wine for dinner, I'll have a glass, but I don't drink out of social need anymore.
The term first emerged several years ago, but more recently caught fire online. Even mentioned in the latest season of Netflix's Emily in Paris.
Oh, what if we did a non-alcoholic version? There's been a lot of growth in that sector thanks to the Sober Curious movement.
Thanks everyone so much for coming out on.
Sam Bale is helping drive that growth.
Rather than being on autopilot and kind of just saying yes whenever there's drinks around, Sober Curious means that you're mindful about drinking and about how much alcohol you consume.
So it's not completely abstaining from alcohol.
Exactly.
Bale plans events like this one at New York City's Contento, where the mocktail menu is anything but basic.
It's balanced, it's complex.
Rose Thomas Bannister is a sober curious sommelier.
I think if somebody handed this to me, I wouldn't immediately think, you've tricked me. This is a non-alcoholic drink. It tastes like a whiskey sour.
A new survey found 42% of Americans describe themselves as sober curious, up from 33% in 2022. And notably, the biggest group of Americans cutting back is Gen Z.
I think young people might just be a little bit more wellness conscious, a little bit more health conscious. There's a lot bigger conversation going on about mental health and what impacts your mental health.
Recent studies reveal that even low levels of regular drinking can have negative long-term health impacts. Earlier this month, the Surgeon General issued a new advisory warning those who drink face a higher risk of cancer.
Everyone wants a nice adult beverage, something that tastes good, something that's interesting, something that's exciting, but they just don't want the effect of alcohol.
The shift is creating a new and booming market for alcohol-free alternatives.
You've got your distilled botanicals, so those are really good to slot into your classic cocktails like a mojito or a margarita or a paloma.
Alex Highsmith is the co-owner of Spirited Away in New York City, which claims to be North America's first booze-free bottle shop.
The whole idea was just to show people that there were other sophisticated alcohol-free options out there besides the usual seltzer, Shirley Temple, ginger ale.
Here you'll find everything from non-alcoholic beer to de-alcoholized wines, even zero-proof spirits.
So we've got a really nice sparkling wine here from Spain, and then we've got a really nice bitter red aperitif from the coast of England.
So kind of like an Aperol.
Yeah. So we'll do about a finger of the bitter red aperitif.
Okay.
And then we're gonna do some sparkles on top. We call that a Negroni Spagliato.
All right, looks beautiful.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Does the trick.
Feel like you're on the beach?
Yeah.
You kind of get those floral notes, you get the bubbles on your tongue. It's got more complexity than something else that maybe the bartender just whipped up, and it's still pretty easy to make at home.
With evolving science and the help of some big celebrity endorsements,
these are non-alcoholic beverages.
From Khloe Kardashian,
the first time I drank him,
to Bella Hadid and Tom Holland, global sales of low and no alcohol products surpassed $13 billion in 2023, with sales rising nearly 30% year over year. The sober curious hope that booming market will lead to more diverse drink menus at establishments across the country year-round.
We're right on the tipping point of it kind of crossing over from this niche trend that's been building for a couple of years into just people's everyday life.
All right, so I was able to do a bit of taste testing, as you saw in the piece, and I wanted to bring in some of my favorites here for you all to try. So let's start with this. This is sort of a wine replacement. It's from Denmark. It uses white and black tea leaves and has a bit of pear. What do you think?
It's good. It's good. It's like stronger than ginger ale. It has
Yeah, it doesn't make me think of wine. It makes me think of something else, but I don't know
like ginger beer.
It's like wine adjacent, a little kombucha.
Yeah,
it's also
very much.
like this is vegan, this is organic, this is 20 calories per glass, which, as you know, is a lot less than a glass of wine.
Yeah, because some of them are so high, too, some of these non-alcoholics, it feels like there's sugar in them.
Yeah,
more
way
sugar
too
than
much
others.
sugar.
And
Objectively, not having alcohol is going to be healthier for you. It's nice to have all these options, but I will say some of these options are just as expensive or more expensive than alcohol.
Of
So
course.
beware when you go shopping.
Gotta make money.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.